What if the scariest thing isn't a monster, but your own politeness? What if saying nothing costs you everything? At first glance, Speak No Evil seems like just another quiet psychological drama, a story about two families bonding over a casual vacation. Smiles, dinners, polite conversations. But just beneath that calm surface lies something truly chilling. This isn't a horror filled with jump scares or blood, it's much worse. It's the kind of fear that creeps in slowly, the kind that grows inside awkward silences, forced smiles, and moments when you should speak up but don't. In today's video, we're diving deep into Speak No Evil. We'll explore what makes this film so disturbing without relying on cheap tricks. We'll uncover the hidden details, the social commentary, and the decisions that turn an ordinary visit into a nightmare. We'll also look at the shocking contrast between this remake and the original version, and how small changes completely shift the story's meaning. Stick with us till the end because there's more to this movie than meets the eye. And trust me, the final moments will leave you questioning your own instincts. Welcome to Movies Review, your home for dark, deep, and thought-provoking film breakdowns. If you enjoy stories that stay with you long after the credits roll, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community of movie lovers. Let's begin. Released in 2024, Speak No Evil is an American psychological horror thriller that grips you not with loud scares, but with quiet dread. Directed by James Watkins, known for his unnerving storytelling, this movie is actually a remake of a 2022 Danish film of the same name. The original was a sharp, brutal look at how people suppress discomfort just to be polite. The American remake keeps this core idea, but adapts it for a new audience, delivering a dark tale that builds slow tension through human behavior, not horror tropes. At first, the story seems simple. An American couple and their daughter are on a trip to Europe. They're your average picture-perfect family, enjoying a peaceful vacation. While abroad, they meet a charming British couple who are friendly, funny, and full of warmth. After spending a few days together, the British couple invites them to visit their countryside home for a weekend getaway. It sounds like the beginning of a light-hearted cultural exchange, a refreshing detour during their trip. But what starts as innocent fun soon begins to feel off. The tone changes. The small talk gets sharper, the laughter feels forced, and slowly something unspoken creeps into the background. This is no ordinary visit, and this is no ordinary movie. What unfolds next isn't just a psychological horror story. It's a study of manners, manipulation, and the very real fear of confrontation. The heart of Speak No Evil lies in the story of a seemingly normal American family, Louise, Ben, and their sweet young daughter, Agnes. They're gentle, thoughtful people, just looking for relaxation. On their European vacation, they cross paths with another family, Paddy and Ciara, an outgoing British couple with a son around Agnes's age. The connection is instant. The couples share laughs, meals, and stories. Their kids play together. Everything seems perfect on the surface. Paddy and Ciara then invite the Americans to visit their remote countryside home in England. At first, it feels like an exciting, spontaneous plan. Ben and Louise, wanting to be polite and adventurous, agree. But the moment they arrive, a shift in the air becomes noticeable. Subtle things feel wrong. The hosts are warm but also intense. Jokes feel sharp-edged. Their son, Ant, doesn't speak, and no one seems to explain why. Strange behaviors start to emerge. Boundaries are crossed. The American couple begins to feel increasingly uneasy, but they don't say anything. They smile through it, laugh it off, because it feels easier to stay polite than to speak up. That's where the horror begins, not from monsters or murderers, but from the slow realization that they might not be able to leave. There's no need for spoilers to explain the tension. This movie plays with your expectations, making the most mundane situations feel threatening. A dinner conversation, a shared joke, a car ride, all these scenes feel like they could snap into chaos at any moment, and that's exactly what keeps you watching. One of the most unsettling things about Speak No Evil is how normal it feels at first. The tone starts light, even humorous. The conversations are awkward but not strange. The kind of discomfort we've all felt when visiting someone new, trying to be polite. The film uses this shared human experience to draw us in. It doesn't feel like horror in the beginning. It feels like a drama, a quiet, observational story about cultural differences and family dynamics. But that's the trick. That's the trap. Slowly, the tension builds, not through music or special effects, but through silence, through body language, through the space between words. Every small moment starts to feel wrong. The smiles don't reach the eyes, the jokes land too hard, the camera lingers just a little too long on a character's face. And before you even realize it, your stomach is in knots. There's a quiet horror at play here, a psychological pressure that never fully releases. The movie makes you feel like you're trapped with the characters, unable to scream, unable to leave. It doesn't rely on blood or gore. Instead, it weaponizes awkwardness, discomfort, and social pressure. That's what makes it terrifying. It's not a haunted house or a killer in a mask, it's fear that feels real, because it is real. It's the fear of being too polite to run when you should. The performances in Speak No Evil are a major reason why the film works so well. James McAvoy plays Paddy, the British father, with a strange mix of charm and menace. At first, he seems like the perfect host, funny, confident, charismatic. But as the story unfolds, something about him begins to feel off. There's an edge behind the smile, a coldness in the eyes that you can't quite explain. McAvoy masterfully walks the line between likable and terrifying, never letting the audience fully trust him. Mackenzie Davis and Scoop McNairy play the American couple, Louise and Ben. Their performances are incredibly grounded. You believe them as a real couple. You feel their confusion, their discomfort, and eventually their fear. What's most powerful is how subtle their reactions are. They don't scream or panic. Instead, they show fear the way real people do, through hesitant glances, nervous smiles, quiet conversations behind closed doors. The children also play a crucial role. The young girl, Agnes, brings innocence to the story. Her presence raises the stakes. And Paddy and Kira's son, Ant, is silent but unforgettable. His stillness, his strange behavior, his inability to speak, he becomes a silent warning, a living mystery. All of these performances work together to create a story that feels real, which makes it all the more disturbing. You're not watching actors, you're watching people slowly fall into something they can't escape. If you've seen the original 2022 Danish version of Speak No Evil, you'll notice a few big differences. That film was colder, more clinical. It stripped away any humor, giving the story a bleak and brutal tone. The remake keeps the core story, but adds layers of dark humor and more dramatic moments. Some viewers might appreciate these changes. Others might find that the American version softens the horror. The original film ends with a heavy, unshakable sense of despair. The remake adds some American flavor, moments of confrontation, clearer motivations, and a slightly different emotional arc. Some characters are more vocal, others are more exaggerated. And while that adds entertainment value, it can also feel a little less haunting. Another key difference is the pacing. The Danish version was slow and deliberate. The remake moves faster, with more emotional highs and lows. This makes it more accessible to a wider audience, but some of the original's raw power is lost. That said, the remake still delivers its own brand of fear. It's not a copy, it's a reimagining. And whether you prefer one version or the other depends on how you like your horror, subtle and cold, or sharp and dramatic. The response to Speak No Evil has been mixed, but always intense. Many critics praised the performances, especially James McAvoy's chilling charm. Audiences appreciated the slow build, the realism, and the unique approach to fear. The film doesn't follow, but others felt differently. Some viewers missed the raw emotional weight of the original. They felt the remake tried too hard to be entertaining, losing the cold dread that made the original unforgettable. The ending also sparked debate. Some called it shocking, others found it too familiar or predictable. What's certain is that it got people talking. One of the most interesting reactions came from those who felt personally attacked by the movie's message. Many people said it made them reflect on times they ignored red flags, times they stayed silent to keep the peace. That's the film's real power. It doesn't just entertain, it confronts you. It asks, what would you do? And that question stays with you long after the screen goes black. At its core, Speak No Evil is about fear, but not the fear of ghosts or killers. It's about the fear of confrontation, the fear of being impolite. It's a horror story rooted in social behavior. Throughout the film, characters are given chances to speak up, to say something, to leave, but they don't, because they don't want to make things awkward. They don't want to offend. And that hesitation becomes their downfall. The movie explores themes like trust, control, and how far people will go to avoid conflict. It looks at how we're taught to be nice, to smile, to stay quiet, and how those instincts can be used against us. The villains don't need to chase or threaten, they just apply pressure, slowly, quietly, until it's too late. Parenting is also a key theme. The American couple is constantly trying to protect their child, but they're also trying to be polite. That conflict creates real danger. The film forces you to ask, what would you do? If something felt wrong, would you speak up, or would you stay silent to avoid looking rude? That question is the true horror, and it's what makes this film so unforgettable. Speak No Evil isn't your typical horror movie. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It crawls under your skin with everyday situations and quiet dread. What makes it powerful is how real it feels. You recognize these people, you've been in these situations, and that makes the fear personal. The performances are strong, especially McAvoy's layered portrayal of Paddy. The tone is masterfully crafted, building tension without needing violence or gore. And the themes hit hard, especially if you've ever stayed quiet when you should have spoken up. Of course, it's not perfect. Some might find the pacing slow, others may miss the raw edge of the original. But for fans of psychological thrillers and slow-burn tension, this movie delivers something rare, horror that feels human. If you want a film that stays with you, not because of what you saw, but because of what it made you feel, then Speak No Evil is worth watching. So now that you've seen the full picture, we ask you this: would you speak up? Or stay silent? Would you trust your instincts and walk away? Or would you keep smiling, ignoring every warning sign, just to avoid being rude? Speak No Evil forces us to confront that uncomfortable truth, and maybe, just maybe, it shows us how danger doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it sits politely at the dinner table. We want to hear from you. What would you have done in their place? Did the film make you reflect on any real-life moments? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every one. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more dark, disturbing, and unforgettable stories just like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Movies Review. We bring you the most gripping summaries, layered insights, and hidden meanings behind the world's most haunting films. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes silence is the most dangerous sound of all.